Here we go, Novi Restaurants Part 2, which is a really bad reference to a 90s movie called Hot Shots Part 2 instead of Part 2. This list includes my personal favorites and they're great spots to go. I would definitely recommend grabbing a reservation at any of these restaurants, especially if you're pairing it with an activity like the iFly indoor skydiving place, movie tickets at Imagine, or you can also do a reservation at the axe throwing place, either Battle Axe or the Hub. But eat at any of these places first. My name is Mike Perna, local real estate agent for over 20 years, helping families buy homes in and around Metro Detroit, including Novi. If I can help you with your current home or help you find your next home, please give us a call anytime. Also, I make videos about the communities I serve and upcoming events in Metro Detroit. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit the red button and let's go. First up, we have Maisano's, and Maisano's is the oldest Italian restaurant in Novi, and this place is a gem. It opened more than 40 years ago by Frank Maisano, and at first as a town club pop store. Think Back to the Future soda shop. And in 1979, his wife Jackie expanded it with a deli serving sandwiches and adding a few tables. Over the next 25 years, Frank and Jackie kept expanding the restaurant, and pretty much anybody who's anybody in Novi has eaten at Maisano's almost like it's a rite of passage for Novi mayors. In addition, their client list includes Governor John Engler, Representative Joe Nolenberg, Senator Spicer Abram, Senator Carl Levin, and L. Brooks Patterson himself was a frequenter to the place. As leaders in the community, Frank and Jackie are also active in local hunger programs, the Chamber of Commerce, as well as patrons of Novi's youth baseball and hockey programs. Located right on the northwest corner of Novi Road and Grand River Avenue, Maisano's is tucked away in a strip mall and very unassuming. But the vibe inside the venue is very cozy with subdued lighting, elegant decor, and rich drapes. And you can tell they love to honor their Italian roots, not only with their homemade, genuine Italian food, but with their very unique environment and hand-painted murals and amazing staff. This is also one of the better gluten-free Italian restaurants in Metro Detroit. I don't suffer from celiac, but I have friends that do, and they've tried their pasta and it does not taste like cardboard. Second on the list is another Novi staple, Diamond Jim Brady's Bistro Bar, which is on Crescent Boulevard on the east side of Novi Road in the town center. After retiring and selling a very successful company selling railroad supplies, Jim Brady looked at what his next venture would be. He was known to be a bit flashy, and though not trained as a chef, he often ate as big as 12-course meals and always thought he could do it better. Jim Brady opened the first location in Detroit on 7 Mile and Greenfield in 1954, and the Novi location in 1991. Today, there are 3 Diamond Jim Brady's. There's the Novi location being Jim's favorite. We included them when we were shooting our Not Your Average Guide to Novi video, which you can watch by clicking on this card right here. We sat down and spoke with the manager, tried different plates, and spoke a little bit about the history of both Diamond Jim Brady himself and the Detroit location and the couple of spin-off locations. They do food really well, and one thing I respect about this place from a business perspective is they have multiple bartenders, servers, and cooks that have been there for over 20 years. I can tell you this, when I was in college, I worked at 2 restaurants, and the turnover rate at restaurants is higher than pretty much any other industry that I'm aware of. So this is a real testament to their leadership and the service to their own people that so many have called it home for so long. Now let's get to the food. Their Scottish salmon is my absolute go-to, but you know, salmon usually is on most menus for me. I'm a big salmon guy. They've got a really nice steak, a great burger, but the go-to I always get are the disco fries when it's on the menu in the fall. The other not always on the menu go-to, it kind of comes and goes, is the French onion soup. And if you catch it there, definitely get that one. Mary and Sharon, if you're watching, that carrot cake in the Royal Local location my mother loves, and I'd love to see it make an appearance here in Novi. Continuing our march down the best food in Novi list, next up I've got Black Rock Bar and Grill. And before we get there, if you haven't, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button in this video to help more people see it. On to Black Rock. Now this has become a Novi staple in a very short time. The original location opened in 2010 in Heartland by Lonnie and Jeanette Morganroth. If this was in a strip mall they had purchased in 2008 that quickly went vacant during the recession. They took advantage of the situation and, having no tenants at the time, decided to try a new restaurant concept that they thought might work out. It was so popular they quickly expanded to Novi, and they now have 10 locations in Michigan and are franchising in Ohio, Florida, and probably a few other places that I'm not aware of. While they do have a more traditional menu that has pizza, burgers, desserts, ribs, lobster, lobster mac, love that, the draw is the Australian style of cooking your steak on a black rock. In essence, they take a smooth granite stone and heat it to 800 degrees. Then they bring it tableside to cook your steak on exactly to your liking. You can pick from a filet, a New York strip, a ribeye of several sizes, and you can add on sides to cook like andouille sausage, peppers, onions, kielbasa, shrimp, ahi tuna, scallops, and more. I love the steak and that's usually what I get here, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that they have a really interesting take on the French dip that makes it my second favorite French dip in all of Metro Detroit. Watch to the end and I will definitely mention my favorite. It's worth the drive. My other go-to is their ghost pepper chipotle burger. And if you don't like it spicy, do not get that, but definitely then try the patty melt. Now, I'm typically not a fan of restaurants attached to hotels, but this one's a really good one. And if you know, then you know. Then you know I'm talking about Toasted Oak Grill and Market. Inside the Hotel Baronet, Detroit, the Novi Hotel, which is across from 12 Oaks Mall, it was opened in 2010 by Steve Grosdick, and it was definitely ahead of its time as one of the first farm-to-table restaurants in Michigan, featuring a French and American cuisine menu. In addition to that, they put a marketplace up front and the restaurant in the back. This is a concept that Cantoro started in Livonia in the 60s, and is now carried on here, as well as Ettore, the grocery and bar in Detroit, and Morrow. Now let's start with the atmosphere. If you're coming in the winter, definitely try to get a table near the fireplace. This place has subdued lighting, it's upscale, and has a slow feel, and has a great reprieve from the chaos that's 12 Oaks Mall. It's quite a different vibe here than, let's say, the Cheesecake Factory. They use farm-fresh, locally sourced ingredients whenever possible, and ordering any of the chartreuse boards, you're going to find several Michigan cheeses. We visited them when we were shooting our Not Our Average Guide to Novi video, and we're going to drop the link in the description below so you can check that out. There's a coffee black pepper crusted 8-ounce sirloin on the menu that is 100% my go-to, as well as their grilled asparagus and a grilled cheese made on Zingerman's Pullman sourdough bread with caramelized onions and tomato jam. They've also got an excellent wine program, some local, many from France, Italy, or the West Coast, or right here in Michigan with an array of reds, whites, rosés, and or sparkling wines. In 2019, Toasted Oak won an award from Wine Spectator magazine for its curated collection of wines. In the front, you can also purchase many of the cheeses and the meats they use in their dishes to take home. Number 6 Prime in Novi. Now this one's a newer addition to the list and is connected to a hotel, the Royal Crown on Novi Road. This is formerly the Number 6 Chop House, and it's been redone and reopened, led by Tony Amon, who had managed the Number 6 Chop House previously but has now taken full reins and is very imaginative. The updated interior has a new entry with a modern white marble wall, and it feels like every detail on the decor was taken care of, which really raised my expectations of the food. And I was not disappointed in the least, and frankly, I think Tony Amon outdid himself. My first thought after eating here is these guys are in the wrong place. This place stacks against some of the best steakhouses I've been to in Colorado or Texas, and that's saying something. As an oyster fan, I had to try them, and I think they were my third favorite oyster in Southeast Michigan, but best within a 25-minute drive in any direction, so I'll take it. I skipped my usual French onion because I immediately saw a Fago root beer braised short rib I just had to try, as well as the elk chops. Both seemed so unusual I couldn't help myself. I didn't order it, but I'm definitely going to return to get the Japanese Wagyu New York strip. I saw it on a couple of tables and people looked like they loved it. There are a couple places here that serve a Wagyu, and I'm always disappointed because it turns out to be an American Wagyu, not a Japanese. I had it first visiting my sister abroad in Abu Dhabi, and I can't go back to any other kind of Wagyu because the Wagyu there is amazing and on point. Also, I got the Oscar-style asparagus tips. It looks a bit like some crab meat piled on asparagus, and that's actually really just what it is. It's very simple, but it was cooked perfectly. I'm gonna give this place an 8 out of 10. I didn't get to dessert this time, mainly because I had ordered 2 main courses and I was stuffed. Last, but most definitely not least on this list, we are gonna talk about the chef-owned Steve and Rocky's, another Novi staple that if you have not been, you are missing out. Opened in 1998 by Chuck Rocky Rashowitz, who has a restaurant we've reviewed in Northville, and also by Steve Allen, the chef. Going into a little bit of Steve's history, he got his culinary chops at Southfield's Golden Mushroom under Master Chef Milos Shelka. And also, he's not the only one. There are a half dozen local and national chefs and restaurateurs that have made their way through the Golden Mushroom and went on to create some great restaurants, including Forrest in Birmingham, 2 professors at Schoolcraft College, Pier M33 in Sheboygan, and Food Fanatics in South Lyon. The interior is both very colorful and striking with vibrant reds, oranges, yellows, and blues, including Michigan leaves made of copper and steel. The menu is printed daily and changes often with the seasons and what can be sourced locally and fresh. I did try the Chef Milos mushroom soup, which I think lives up to the name, and I had the Lake Perch Cajun tacos with a remoulade, sriracha, and pickled red onion. The walleye saute I am definitely going to have to come back and have a second time for sure. Loved it the first time, and I saw, but I didn't have the St. Louis ribs. Getting those the next time as well after seeing them. I love the pride that Steve and Rocky take in their work and the foods they served, and all these years later, you're often going to find them working away in the kitchen and available to chat. Now that is a wrap for our Novi dinner bucket list, and be sure to check these places out as you're exploring the area. And if you're looking to start your real estate journey, or you've already made your decision about moving to Novi or the greater Metro Detroit area, give me a call. I would love to be of service. My name is Mike Perna. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you on the next video.